Hello everyone and welcome to another video in our Engine Snack series, the super quick video series that's sweeping the internet. I'm Grandmaster Matthew Sadler and we are looking today at the game between Zahak and Asymptote in the TCEC Season 22 Qualification League. This game is a really fun one. The opening variation was a Sicilian pin variation, a rather dubious variation of the Sicilian, and at first sight White's doing pretty well. Two bishops, doubled black d-pawns, a d6 pawn in the heart of black's position, and lots of weak dark squares. However, after rook e8 check, the king is forced to move to d1. A move like bishop e3, for example, would allow d4. Bishop e2 would allow the unpleasant knight d4. So White is forced to give up the right to castle, play king d1, and after queen f6, well, White has a little bit of a dilemma. This queen on f6 attacks the pawn on b2, so prevents the bishop from moving from c1, and you could really imagine that black will start getting its development going with b5, bishop b7. There might be something with a rook coming into e4 maybe. This pawn could be a little bit vulnerable, maybe the knight comes into e5. There's plenty of ways you could imagine for black to improve its position. So not really clear what White should do. Zahak came up with a quite extraordinary plan. You'd think I'd be used to rook's pawns by now with all the ancient games I'm analysing, but still this one came as something of a surprise. h5, not too much of a surprise, knight e5, and now the move a4. Actually, a4 is kind of a useful positional move. Maybe a5 can be played, and it'll be a little bit difficult to defend this this bishop on c8. Of course, you see that the pawn on d6 is going to go, but well, I mean that was sort of calculated into that. Even if black wins this pawn back, be a pawn up, but well, got double d pawns, all the pawns on light squares, bishop on light squares, so White's always going to have compensation. But the idea of a4, black plays b6 to complete the development, and then rook a3, bringing the rook into play. And it's one of these sort of known positional things, really. You see it in a lot of openings that you know, you sort of feel that White should be developing its pieces, but the bishop on c1 and bishop f1 are actually doing a decent job where they are. I mean, this bishop's got plenty of influence over this diagonal, and this bishop's you know, doing a decent job as well. So actually you don't really need to develop those bishops, they're fine as they are, but you do need to develop your major pieces, and well, a4 rook a3 is an absolutely great idea, because after bishop e7 White plays queen h4. Well, I mean, the queen on f6 is black's most active piece here. It was, you know, attacking b2 before, also attacking f2 as well, and well, had some promise of doing some stuff, also attacking the pawn on d6. Now, of course, there's a big threat along the h-file, so actually the exchange of queens is forced, and beautifully after rook e6, White follows up with rook a h3. That sort of hoovering motion across the third rank, and yeah, the rook is aiming at the h7 and h8 points. H takes g6 is threatened, and it's very dangerous for black. So black played rook e8, bishop d2, takes on h5, rook takes h5, knight g4, threatening f2. Rook f5, rook d6, bishop d3. Black's picked up a pawn, but look at that beautiful white position. h7 is definitely going to go very soon. We've got the two bishops, horrific pawn structure for black. White has a clear advantage, and Zahak did a pretty good job of finishing off that game. So there we are. I mean, just a beautiful use of the rook's pawns in this position to activate the rooks in a quite extraordinary fashion, and also a very nice little illustration of bishops just being active where they are, so not needing to develop them, quite different to knights, of course. And also the idea of a move like queen h4, you exchange off the active opponent's pieces and leave him with more passive ones. And yeah, all of that just in a few moves. Really nice game from Zahak.